Good morning. We are going to be learning today the Rambam, Hilchos Mechirah, Perek Zayin Halacha Aleph, Beis, and Ches. Mainly Aleph and Beis, but some reference to Ches. The concept that we're going to be talking about is a unique concept in Jewish law. And that is, the halacha is, at least today, in other words, when it was established that is going to be the halacha, originally it wasn't so, according to some opinions. When you want to go buy something, you're buying something, and you give the money. You never received the item yet, but you gave the money. Now the question is, you realize they got a better deal somewhere else. You want to change your mind. So in most places, you go back in the store and you want to get money. Even you can return things, but definitely, you don't have to go through with the deal. However, in Jewish law, unless both sides agree, if any of them back off after the money was given, so there's a concept called MI Sheporah. There's a MI Sheporah, meaning we don't know what it is yet. It's some kind of curse. Now, what happens and how it happens is that what we're going to talk about today. Really, really a broad, as anything else, a broad spectrum of ideas. And I want to suggest that the Rambam may have a unique approach to this, as he often does, or at least we often say he does. And let's get to work. So the Rambam in Hilchos Mechirah says, "Misha nosan adam v'lei mosher ha'peiros." That means you gave money, but you never took the item or never did anything physical to acquire an item. In Jewish law, you need a ma'asekin, you need something to acquire it with. You never acquired it, you don't own it, still owned by the other guy. But once you gave the money, whoever goes back on his deal, whether the buyer or the seller, mainly buyer, the seller. Now here's a unique phrase of the Rambam. Loi osa maisi Yisrael. He didn't act like a Jew. And then the next line, and he is obligated lekabel to receive a mishabar. And then he goes. That's the end of that. That's the end of relevance of that halacha to us. Now, how does this happen? Here's again, unique to the Rambam. Ketzad mekabel halacha base. How does this happen? Now here the Rambam says, "Oirin oisei bebezin." Curse him in bezin. And this is what they say. MI Sheporah, whoever punished and took revenge, so to speak. From the people of the flood generation who were very into stealing. Which doesn't seem to be they were into stealing, but who Yifra, he will pay back. Anybody that doesn't keep his word. Now, then he pays back the money. Then he gives back the money. We're going to analyze the words here, but I think the wording here in both of these are so unique and so strong that they must mean something. Just a note, even though the MI Sheporah says anybody who doesn't keep his word, but if he only gave you a word and you didn't give any money, words don't. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but the words won't harm you. The words aren't that. They're not good. It's called Mechirah, which is not a very positive thing to be under. But nevertheless, that's not the idea. It doesn't warrant a MI Sheporah. So the Gemara now in Bab Mitzvah. The Mishnah Bab Mitzvah. Take a few notes here. Where this is the source of everything. Daf Mem Daled says same thing. Nos and Mois didn't do the Mechirah, didn't acquire it. You can go back. Now he had a list where but they said Mi Sheporah Anshe there Mabu there Blagu Asli Bar Mi Shena. Now it's not clear what happens. It just says that they said, and who's they? And what do they say? I think we're going to discuss. Now, in the Mishnah, it just said there are mabel and there are flood. Now, the Gemara, I want to note, listen to the Gemara. Tnan Avalon. Then there was a whole discussion. So, if you say Mois kindness, that the money made a kinyan, it would acquired it. Yishmachi koi ba'aval. Therefore, you are in the aval. What's aval? Aval means but. However, it doesn't say anything. Eliyam was anything. I claim aval. I mean, if I were writing this, or if any of us were writing this, we would have said, Shaki Koyim Mishabara. Eliyam made any case. I claim Mishabara. Well, the word me call aval. Again, aval. What's this aval business? Like I tried finding anywhere where such a word says. When Gemara calls a concept by its introductory phrase of aval. And then where do we get this extension of their Anshe Sdaim and Mitzrayim? That's a brisa. That's a brisa. And there also the Gemara goes on. If you gave money, is aval. No get money, no aval. over and over, aval. What is this? And then the final piece of Gemara says is where the Gemara actually deals with what this means. Itmar, and we're on Chesam and base. Abaya Omar, we don't curse him. We let him know that this is what you're under. You're subject to this Mishaparah. Nobody curses. Rava Melat Aitinonly. We curse. So Abai says, how can you curse the guy? You're not allowed to curse a Jew. Not a curse a Jew. Nasi Bam doesn't mean only a Nasi, we learn any Jew. Rava man, no, like this. You act like a Jew, you're not act like a Jew. What are they arguing over? Sounds like pretty far opinions. You're not acting like you are. And the Gemara makes a proof. Rashi says, why are you not Oisem my Samcha? Because there's a pasuk She'eris Yisrael lo yasu avali dabrachaza. A Jew doesn't lie. It's funny because if you're going to go to the image of the Jew out there, it's exactly the opposite of this. What the caricatures have created, because you'll always find that the caricatures will go after that which was exactly the opposite. Jews are genocidal when they care about everybody, and they don't, and they lose soldiers because they're careful. They'll be called genocidal. They will be called liars because Jews don't lie. It's like incredible how you take the opposite of what they really are, and that's why it's called anti-Semitism. It goes against what we are. Okay, that's my own shot. Anyway, I want to analyze what we just learned and what I find fascinating in the Rambam. First of all, the Rambam introduces a phrase that it doesn't say anywhere. Loy osa mais Yisrael. Now, yes, it's somewhat of a translation of the word Osa mais Amcha, but why use those words? Why create your own phrase? No, that's not what he usually does. It quotes the Gemara. Second, the Gemara is not telling you that's the reason we curse him. The Gemara is just telling you why we're allowed to curse him. The Rambam is saying the reason we curse him is because Layos MI Sheporah. That's not what the Gemara says. How do you get this new idea? That wasn't even more than the first one, but they're both good problems. So where do you get this new phrase? Rambam doesn't coin new phrases unless he has to. Tosfos asks the question. You got to tell me a Jew that goes back on his word is considered an Eino Isa Ma'isa Amcha, which means now anybody can curse him because our rule is if someone Eino Isa Ma'isa Amcha, you don't act like a Jew. Anybody can curse you. Is that what you can tell me? They say no. There are two levels. There's a level where you're a real Eino Isa Ma'isa Amcha, you're a terrible guy, and therefore anybody can curse you. And then there is this level where only working MI Sheporah for you. But now, Tosfos is big and can do what he wants. But it's a big Kiddush. Where do you get these two concepts? Masha proves that Tosfos is right. But still, I mean, what caused Tosfos to say that? Now, we might notice that the Rambam uses a strange lashon, Mechayiv lekabel MI Sheporah. What do you mean? I am the person is obligated to accept the MI Sheporah. That's what he's obligated to get. We give him MI Sheporah. Accepts. He doesn't accept. We ask him. We tell him, hey, sir, are you ready to get it? You're on a makabel? Chayiv, are you chayiv? And the Torah adds a word. Instead of chayiv, it's tzarech. Lekabel olav MI Sheporah. Accept it upon yourself. The Mordechai of Mechirah says, brought down a documentation. I saw the Mordechai itself. Shamaiti, I heard the Chol Misha Mekam Misha Tzarech Loima Beviv. He has to say, I accept. Why? What is it all about? Then we stress, what's this avol? Koi ba'avol. He's an avol. What avol? Avol is nothing. Avol is not a word. I was a adjective. I'm not sure what it is, but it's not a word. It's not definitely not a description of anything. It leads in Aval Amru, but they said, why do you say Koi Ba'amru? It would make much sense to you. Koi Ba'aval. Again, the Ketzad Mekabel MI Sheporah, and he doesn't talk anything about the Mekabel. He's talking about the giver. So you should say Ketzad. The Oisen MI Sheporah. How do you do it? Ketzad Mekabel? And then I'll show you soon that it's even a bigger problem. It says there Oyer and Oisen Bebezen, and we say Yifra Misha Ein Oimed B'Diburai. Look at this. The Rosh in Mechirah says that whatever reason he goes into the rat and what the machlekes of Bayram, but he's like this. Since it says you curse him, obviously you say, who Yifra Mimcha, you're going to get the MI Sheporah. But then he notes that the Rambam doesn't say that. It's not directed to him. And the Beiseisiv brings the Rashba that the Lashon HaMishnah, really it sounds like you're doing it directly to him. But the Lashon HaMishnah and the Rambam is not like that. So why? Why aren't you cursing him? Why are we using this strange expression? He will from whoever. And finally, well, not finally, but another issue. Yeah. What is the last phrase? Who cares when he gives back the money? Why is that important? Nowhere in the Gemara does it say that. We curse him. And in general, there's a big discussion that what is this What is this all about? And they give explanations, but I have a problem. Did it end that God stopped punishing only before Matan Torah, and after Matan Torah, you don't find anybody that got punished for lying or for not being honest? I think you find. So why is it this list? Why don't let's go further? If you're going to go on a list, and there's lists to go on. So I want to suggest the Rambam did not learn that we are cursing him. And that's why we don't address it to him. And he learned it from the Mishnah. There's no claw on the person. And the reason is, could be that I understood, because why in the world, like Tysus asks? He doesn't deserve it. You can't curse a person for just not keeping his word. He wasn't there many years. Don't laugh in the Torah. It's a pasuk according to Rashi, shares Israel, but it's don't laugh in the Torah that you can't take your word back. I didn't do it. I want to go back on my deal. I changed my mind. So perhaps the Rambam learned different shot in the Gemara. Here's where I will to be, to be able to be honest. This is a Kiddush. That the Rambam learned that shot in the Gemara, but it makes sense. I want to be transparent. The Rambam learns that Abaye and Rav are not arguing whether the guy you actually curse him. That was a question. You can't curse him. As we said, Abaye says you can't even curse. You can't even reference that he cursed here. Because they're cursing you. So don't even talk about curses. We let him know that there's a punishment for what he's doing. We let him know there's a punishment for what he's doing. That's it. Rava is just saying, not coming to give a heter. There's no answer to curse in general to say, and God, curse anybody who doesn't keep his word. What does it have to do with what answer is involved over here? Rava's not coming to tell you that you're allowed to curse because that's not the issue. I'm just saying, don't curse. There's no place for a curse. So what's Rava responding? Rava's telling you, the reason he's being cursed is because he's an Ein of my Samka. That's the way the Rambam understood it. At first, what he says. He's literally off the pasuk. What does he mean? Rambam translates what he means. Loi osonai Yisrael. Maybe he means what Rashi means. Sheis Yisrael. This is not a Jewish thing, and therefore he gets cursed. So what is the Sheporah about? Sheporah is, if you don't act like a Jew in general, there is a klala. But the klala is not to him. It's a klala about anybody who is not acting Jewish. And he needs to, the only relationship to him is he has to accept it. He can say, good, I go back, I'm not interested. Nobody cursed him. That's why the Rambam says, could be the Rambam learns, and that's the Taich Kates on Mekabel Sheporah. How was he the Mekabel? We know what he did. The Bezdin says a klala to anybody who doesn't keep his word. He's in a state of limbo. He can keep his word still, right? The way he's Mekabel the klala by taking the money back. The market says you got to say it in your mouth. You got to say, I want it. Rambam says, no, take the money. When the money goes back, either the Lekeyach gives it back or that is the Mekabel. Oh. So perhaps the Gemara wants to stress that. And could be that's one of the places where the Rambam saw this idea. There is no Sheporah given to this person. There is a Sheporah floated in the air and this person needs to take it. And perhaps that's why the Gemara says koi ba'avol. He is in a state of avol. He is in a however state, but he's not yet have a klola. If he wants, he can absorb the klola and take it on himself. And that's why the Gemara doesn't use the word koi b'mi sheporah or koi ba'amru even. Because that would have been, he's in an avol state. Really, really, really nice. I want to end with one of the pshatim that are explained in what's going on here. Now, by the way, if that's the idea that that's what a Jew acts, so perhaps that's why we don't talk about after Matan Torah. We're talking because that's what changed the Matan Torah. Matan Torah became a Jew, became a Yisrael, and that's why he mentioned it. Okay, that's. But I want to just mention a beautiful pshat, and I think it's relevant to everybody in their life. Out of all the pshatim, there's one sort of Hasidic pshat. There's a sefer called Siach Safrei Kodesh, which is about the Chetzke Hasidim, and so it brings down over there in the name of the Chidushei Harim. The reason why the Chazal gave a klola to somebody who doesn't keep his word, he says, you have to understand, there's no, what are you doing terrible? Then he says, and even his name, it was Bachas Misha, it all was words. His name, it says they stole Bachas Misha Bruta. So he answers, Nicht kein Menschlichkeit. Is azevi agrob aver. Not being menschlich, not being decent to other people, is like the worst of averis. Gotta constantly keep that in mind, that our goal has to be menschlichkeit. Anyway, that's part of this message. Everybody, sei gesund and stark. Hatzlacha Rabba.